quick summary, we are getting a spending energy event. We are getting Faust 000, Heathcliff 00, and a Dawn Ego that supports charge count. EXP stages now cost modules instead of Enkerfelin, and stage 1 to 2 of EXP dungeons got buff rewards. Following that, we have tanks are getting more fleshed out with new defense skills and new defense scaling. There are some minor bug fixes to MD events, and they're getting rid of the discard mechanic. And Resonance now gives you more offense level instead of damage. Everything else is very minor changes that you probably don't need to know. Okay, we actually have a March 23rd update. So we're getting an event. The event is about consuming your energy. So consumption doesn't mean conversion into the modules. It's more of just entering the mirror dungeon using modules or consuming the base energy for stages and your EXP dungeons and whatnot. Those will count as progress towards the rewards for this event. The event is split into phase 1, phase 2. So for phase 1, you can already start grinding for phase 2. And if you reach the milestone for phase 2 before it's unlocked, you immediately get the reward. So you can start grinding already once the event starts at part 1. And the reward is a 3-star guarantee ticket. Like, wow, that's pretty generous for a starting gacha. We got some decoration banners, okay, and we got 1 tentpole for the first reward. Wow, we're getting a guarantee. A guaranteed tentpole, by the way. 3-star guaranteed tentpole. What? What? What gacha does this? Okay, anyway. So, okay, I'm looking forward to that one. I want my N Faust. Is it the same time as N Faust? I think it might be the same time as N Faust. Yeah, it is the same time as N Faust. Wow, okay. The banner lasts until April 6th. This event will end April 6th. Okay, cool, cool. So that means the 3-star guarantee ticket might be able to help you get your Faust. That's cool, that's cool. Okay, I'll talk about Faust and Heathcliff later. Okay, and after that, we also have changes to entry costs. I think they announced this one a bit earlier. They are changing the entry costs into Enkerfelin modules. So you're not going to use your raw Enkerfelins anymore. So if you do feel like you can't do your dailies that day, you can just dump all your stamina into modules and just grind another day. So that's actually really nice. Very nice, actually. Because most of the time I'm dumping my excess stamina into modules anyway. So this is quite nice. Rewards for stage 1 and stage 2 of EXP will increase. And in general, all of the EXP rewards are getting bumped up by quite a bit. So that's nice, less grinding required. Then here they are changing the Enkerfelin module cap to 999. Okay, I mean that's not very relevant to most people. But this one's big. This one was in the first patch notes that I read. Resonance now boosts the skill's offense level rather than damage. And Absolute Resonance now applies the highest level of boost to all resonating skills in the chain. So what this means is that now when you do the Candy Crusher gameplay of matching all the blues, all the reds, you get more offense level. And it also helps with the clashing rather than increasing the damage. So that is quite interesting because if you Candy Crush enough of the blues or reds, you might be able to get 5 offense level above your opponent, and then you get +1 to the clash. So that's gonna be quite interesting. Yeah, that gives you a little bit more decision making when you're doing your chain attack. And then now's the big one. They finally added the defense skill changes. So now defense skills no longer do that skipping action. They now allow you to redirect skills, which is nice. And they also prevent one-sided attacks by guarding and evading. So if you're getting targeted by maybe 4 attacks, if you guard and evade, these skills will activate to intercept those attacks, even though you never specifically redirect that attack to you. So that's really nice. And then in addition, they have the defense level. So just like offense levels, if your defense level is 5 above the enemy's offense level of the attacking skill, then your defense is boosted the same scaling as offense level versus offense level. So now defense is a viable option to clash moves and draw aggro away from your teammates, which gives a huge amount of value to tanks that are relatively fast, who can use their defense skill to kind of intercept these attacks. People like Mariachi, for example, even though he has 2 to 3 speed, he could maybe capture some of those skills with his evasion skill. I think it's called Ole or something. Yeah, that's quite interesting. It does give him a little bit more of a tank identity. The tanks are gonna get more tanky as well, so they're just gonna get like a whole tank identity built around them. The unit's defense level reflects the defending level of the defense skill they last use. Yep, okay. And they are changing the growth for max health and defense level. Yeah, so they're basically just making tanks tanky. Like they will actually feel tankier. I believe the stagger thresholds are also being changed so that they have better stagger thresholds. They, for example, I think End Assault has 50% before he gets staggered, and a few other tanks are going to get that changed as well. This one is a skill minimum and maximum damage values are now shown before targeting. So I guess you can see what damage numbers you'll be rolling. And then stagger thresholds, yep, okay, that's the one I was talking about. Okay, and then out of these update contents, I think the only big one I noticed was anyway, of False Ego. I believe they are changing the duration because right now it's not ending on turn 10, it's lasting 10 turns every time you activate it. So realistically, you're just getting a permanent +2 most of the time. But now, apparently, the duration is being changed so that it ends on turn 10 specifically. When the top left turn timer goes to 10, that's when it ends. But yeah, besides that, there's not a lot of other interesting ones. I guess for some people who have been playing with the egos, sometimes egos can happen twice. I've never seen that before. The ego corruption can happen twice. But with this update, they apparently fixed that. Yep, this is the one. Fix an issue where ego corrosion occasionally lasted 2 turns during battle. For the rest of these, there was one change for Mirror Dungeon that some of you might know is the White Gossipium. So when you pick either path, it gives you the ego gift for some reason. But now they're changing it so that if you pick the other path, you get the Sinner power up instead. So that's okay, I guess. I don't really care about White Gossipium in my runs. And then there was one, I think some people were talking about how Ego Shark crates were being displayed as 12 when you forfeit a mirror dungeon, so you could farm the 12 boxes. But that was just a display bug. You were actually getting zero boxes. So they're fixing that. And the rest are not very interesting, honestly. It's just a bunch of bug fixes. And then we get 300 lunacy. Okay, so now that we're done with that, let's move on to the units that we're getting and the ego. Let's start with the ego first. So the ego is a HE. So HEs historically have had a pretty high cost. So while Teleport Dawn has a very good passive of every turn giving an ally charge count, she also gets charge count on the hit, and she can give charge count to all allies on the hit. Now, whether this is good or not is a bit questionable at the current point in time. We need to know how much this actually costs. How fast can she get this passive up and running? We also need to have content where we need to have enough time for her to build up the charge count. I would say that this ego is probably going to be a build around ego. It's going to be very defining for the charge count archetype. The problem is that we don't know the cost yet, so I cannot really say that for sure. If the cost is totally out of the place, then there's no way that this is going to work. But if it's reasonable for HE and it does all this, the charge count, it's pretty good synergy. So yeah, it's going to be part of the charge count team, which is Reindeer Ishmael, W Massault, W Faust, W Dawn, yeah. All the W gang is gonna get a pretty big buff from this one. We're also gonna get a Teleport Faust in the future, so that could be another support. So yeah, we only got Dawn so far, but I'm assuming Teleport Faust will also provide even support and could be a definer for the charge count gang. Okay, before we go into Faust, let's talk about Heathcliff first. Well, first of all, when I initially looked at Heathcliff, it's like, why? He's a bit all over the place. So okay, we don't know the coins, so we don't talk about the coins. But okay, it's good that he provides envy so that he can charge his own ego. But This is Neil's next turn, that's fine. And then on Tails hit, it inflicts bleed, so that means that no matter what you roll, you're always getting something, which is nice. Inflict bleed on the hit, that's fine. This is a this is a weird one. Like, why would you do this instead? You know, like why would you do this? It's so weird, but at the same time, it's nice, I guess. Maybe they want to set up a new precedence for future units. Then we got Purify. Purify gives you SP and it inflicts plus coin drop. So this one's a weird one. Had to go and look up like what this does. Plus coin drop is, you know how our coin power is mostly pluses. So that is what it's referring to because you can have multiply and you can have divide coins. So for the plus coins, these plus coins now will get dropped. So based on how much this value is, your plus coin will be reduced by that much. So if it's plus 5 and then you minus 1 from the plus coin, is plus 4 now. So if you roll heads, you already get plus 4, which is, it's something. I don't know the dice values on this, but it's a one coiner that inflicts this on the hit. So it's a bit weird. He's definitely very all over the place. This one has 3 coins, has potential, maybe? Because the deals bonus damage based on damage hit could be very good, assuming the coin's base power and the coin's power is pretty high, because he could be destroying someone by rolling a bunch of hits, yeah? As for his passive, very British bugger. When an ally is defeated, lose SP and gain plant power up. This realistically in this meta, we are not going to see that ever happen. Allies dying is not a thing that we want to happen, so we will realistically never see this happen. The one ally with the highest speed inflicts additional nails is interesting. Like, depending on the support passive's cost, maybe this could work. But overall, his entire kit just looks so weird. I'll explore more when his coins are released. But for now, it's really very all over the place. Yeah, he's not. I don't know. I guess he's a DPS technically because all these are all damage focused. So maybe we'll expect pretty fast with decent coins and can win clashes. Maybe. I don't know. But right now it's really not looking as good as the one who grips. Oh boy. Looking at the coins is already kind of insane. She has 2 coins on her skill 1. That is okay. End Muscle has taught me that we shouldn't see this and immediately say, hey, that's going to be busted. But no, End Muscle 1 was just okay. It was like I think 7 base and then plus 1 for each coin. Not super great, but at least it hits twice, you know. Clash Wind, lose SP, that's nice. Inflict Nail, Inflict Bleed, that's fine. And then the gripping is on hit, inflict nail, inflict paralyze, and inflict gaze. Gaze is affected units take more damage from pierce and blunt, and the ally that defeats it gains sanity. And if the ally is from NCOP, they also gain fanatic next turn. So gaze is kind of crazy actually, because giving the NCOP gang fanaticism when we know NCOP Rodion exists and she loves fanaticism because she gets even more damage from fanaticism than regular units. She's definitely like going to be the core of NCorp gang, 100% at this point. Like these passives, this gaze is all definitely built just for NCorp. And then on execution, on kill, heal all allies for SP and apply pierce damage up and blunt damage. Inflict nail, and deal more damage if target has X nails. Yep. Yeah, that's just nails. It's like a nail finisher, and it has 3 coins. It's going to do so much. I feel it. I don't even need to wait for the coin power. I know she's going to be core unit for NCorp gang. Okay, and then on evasion, so she has an evasion skill, which is good because evasion means that as long as you keep evading, you will keep evading. It's like how Chroma, whenever you lose against her evasion, she'll evade the next move. So the evasion is exactly the same as Chroma's because she is Chroma. And for the whistle, at the start of the combat phase, unfortunately, it's not the same as Chroma's whistle. It doesn't give attack buff. This whistle just gives lowest SP heal, but it also gives fanaticism. So wow, that's another source of fanaticism. And Whispers is basically exactly the same. Oh, this is heal allies. Oh, it's an AoE SP heal. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Wow. I'm going to tentatively say that she is a must pull, but I think you don't pull her immediately. I think you wait for part 2 to come out and then try with the 3-star ticket. And then after that, you see whether you want to continue pulling for Faust. Because that 3-star ticket there could have given you your Faust. So you're gonna have to wait for that one. I can't wait for the coin power. I'll do a second review when the coin power is out. But I'm almost certain that Faust is going to be a crazy unit. Oh, okay. So overall, this update, a quick summary of the update is that it makes tanky units more tanky. It defines their defense skills now. So defense skills are actually usable to intercept things, which is very significant since we always use defense skills to just pass last time. Like, oh, I don't want to get hit this turn. I don't want to clash that, so I'm just going to pass with my defense skill. And now you're actually going to eat the move with the defense skill. Yeah, and of course, of all the units, the Telepole, Ego, and Faust looks very, very promising. While Heathcliff just looks all over the place right now. He doesn't have anything special on him. It's not like Anne Rodion when she was released. I was like, wow, she has a lot of coins, and she turned out to be a pretty good DPS. But yeah, wow, paralyzed on next turn too. Oh, it's insane. That's crazy. Okay, yeah. I think that's all for this video. This update is going to be very spicy, and I can't wait to pull for Faust too. Oh my goodness. Look at that art. Oh, that art is so good. Oh my goodness. Whew. That art, that kit, the potential team building. Oh, it's all so good. Alright. That's it for this video. I got nothing else to say. Tanks are more defined. The unit and the ego are really good. Heathcliff is kind of weird, and some minor changes for some bug fixes basically. Yeah, and the event is energy spender. Yep, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching.